And we're live. Say hello, Tracy.
Hello, Tracy. How do we have 4
We got
likes already?
2 people. Well, I already liked it before we started. There's Tom. Man, he's going right after it. First question, he already had that typed out. How much, if any, does it make you all? Oh, sorry. How much, if any, does it make you all at RYE mad when the driver don't thank you for
Building winning engines.
building winning engines?
I think maybe I need to read the questions.
Yeah, I think maybe you need to read them. Tom, that's a good question. We always, or I do, I'll kind of listen to what the driver's going to say, and I hope that he says, thanks for the engine, because it'd be awful hard for him to push the car around the track. So kind of way I look at it, but they're pretty good about that. But they also have a lot of sponsors to thank. But, you know, it doesn't bother me maybe as much as it used to, because I know and we know that we build the winning engines. So it's all good. And it usually comes out one way or another. But I couldn't tell. I listened to Harvick's, but I couldn't tell if he said thank you. I think he said Roush Yates. He just said Roush. Yeah. Okay. I missed that a little bit. But anyhow, Kevin did not thank you. Rodney thanked the engine shop. I did hear Rodney say that. I sure did. That was good. But Harvick seems to be kind of bad about that at times anyway. But like I said, he's probably having a hard time remembering all of the sponsors too. But like I said, it'd be hard to push that car around the track. And I think it's pretty obvious that Roush Yates Engines has the best horsepower out there, following in the footsteps of Robert Yates. So who's up next? Who we got on here? We got Tom. We got 3 people. I'd say probably.
Say hello if you're watching.
There you go. Brad K never does either. Yeah, I guess he's maybe he's trying to remember all the sponsors. What they need to do is have a list written down of all the sponsors and the engines. Thank the owner for letting them have the opportunity to do this. And I think that way they can't miss anybody, because you think about all the money that's on the line and all the sponsorship money and the guys at the shops that are working hard day in and day out. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust this thing a little bit. See my pretty wife there. Isn't that nice? I can get a smile out of that.
You got an eyebrow raise.
She thought I was being sarcastic, I guess.
No.
So we're sitting out in my shop. It's a little bit warm, but it actually feels a lot better than it has been, because it's not quite as humid. But I got a fan going, so it's blowing my hair all around. What's the lady on it in the White Snake videos on the hood of the car? That's what I feel like.
Tawny.
Yeah, Tony.
Minus the sexiness.
Yes, minus the sexiness. Of course, I should have had her hair blowing, but she didn't want the fan blowing on her.
It was tickling my face.
I was trying to find my Ford hat so I could be impartial, but I don't know where it's at. This is the only one I can find right now.
So we've got 4 viewers now. So who's watching?
Oh, Terry's on. Hey, Terry Quinn from Oklahoma.
The big OK.
Tom knows Terry. And probably Rachel. Let's see. I could probably maybe share this right quick and then get some
viewers.
Yeah. Hey, I'm enjoying answering
Tom's
questions. And let's see what we got here. Shoot. So that's not. I'm going to ask a little trivia question here in a little bit. One of the last at the end of the video.
See if you're paying attention.
Yes, and maybe like every time we do this, I'll add up who wins each time, and the winner is going to be the one that can answer first. So whoever's thing pops up first. And it's kind of a question. It's sort of
Can you please
has to
have
do with the history.
Tracy text Darla the link to this?
Oh, all right. Let's see. I've got. We'll see. If Terry Quinn, if you got a question, you can send it to me on Messenger. And anybody else watching that can't get it,
Did you send me the link, David?
that I'll do that. That doesn't have the that didn't sign in to YouTube, because you have to be signed in to be able to
Subscribe.
to subscribe, but you have to be signed in to comment on the video. And that's the other thing. If you haven't already, just go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That way, anytime I'm on, you can. All right. So Jenny Wall Stevens is watching, but she must not be signed in either. But she could send me a message on the Messenger, Facebook Messenger. I'm trying to find the link. I had sent it to Rachel. Here it
We've
is.
lost viewers. We've got 2 now. Come back.
Yep. So must have got bored. Okay. So all right. Here's the link. Copy. All right. I'll just tell you about my day today, because we won the race yesterday. So I could be out right now enjoying that blooming onion, but I decided I probably need to be on a diet anyway. So, but we always get Chick-fil-A biscuits for breakfast.
And he's sweet enough to bring me one home for lunch the next day.
Yes, even though we don't. Okay, so anyway, dogs got onto something. All right, I just sent it to you. I could actually send it to Darla too. And then
It's on its way, Tom.
sometimes the drivers will come in, the crew chiefs will come in, and then they will sometimes they'll bring us lunch or they'll bring us breakfast. And like Rodney Childers has been in a couple times, and I haven't seen Harvick yet this year. And Brad comes in, Joey comes in, David Reagan was in there last week. So all right. Anybody got any questions?
It says
to me
sent.
here. Yeah. All right. If you ran NASCAR, this is from Terry Quinn. If you ran NASCAR, what changes would you make? Well, I'll tell you what I would do. I would go back to the old ways of NASCAR where you had a lot of rubbing and racing. I know that's not best on the safety standards or whatever, but I think that would I don't know. I think it would make it more exciting to have things like I said last time about how Bruton Smith used to run at Charlotte, how he would have all the pre-race excitement. This table's moving.
Just because you tapped it.
Oh, he'd have a lot of the pre-race excitement and concerts and all that kind of stuff. And I would definitely work with every track and make sure that they got the fans in and out of there. I would make beer available at a cheap price. I would make bathrooms accessible. I would have plenty of Wi-Fi everywhere. Because if you think about it, when you go to the track, especially if you bring your kids, and the way most people, everybody's connected now on Wi-Fi, internet, whatever. And so that way people it's like free advertising. You're there at the racetrack, people are sending out, people are blasting out, whatever, Snapchats or Facebook posts or any of that kind of stuff. And they're saying, look where I'm at. This is super cool. Y'all should be here too. All right. See what I'm saying?
So Tom asks, there are a lot of rumors floating around about Kurt Busch leaving Ford. If you all could choose a replacement, who would you like to see drive that car?
Oh man, if I could see a replacement in that car.
Me. Just kidding.
Well, the way that they're running, the way those cars are right now, I'd like to see Matt Kenseth in that car. That might not be the most PC thing for me to say, but he is one of our drivers now, and he's in the Rouse cars. but obviously they're not running as good as the Stewart Haas cars are. So I think that would be a good move if we could put Matt in that car. Other than that, I'm not really sure. Tom, you got anybody that you would think of? Danica Patrick? Is that what you said?
It's a Hollywood Hamm.
Hollywood Hamm. I don't know if I'm much of a driver. I'd like to try it. I'd like to get out there and drive around or go around the track once or twice, but it's about the extent of it. I think I'd be too chicken. I have been around Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we did 145 mile an hour, and it was like I felt like if there was a rock or anything on the track that we would have hit the wall. That's how tight and how those tires are hugging the track. And I finally just gave up and laid my helmet on the roll bar on the side, the right hand side over there, because I was like trying to hold my head, and you're going in a corner so and your head's pushing that way.
You said Kurt Buescher would make a
Oh,
good one.
no, Chris Buescher.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, that's a good one, Tom. I didn't think about that, but I talked to Chris probably 3 months ago, I think it was, and he was saying that he had got locked in with Chevrolet for now. Was it JGR or something like that? So, yeah, the chances of him coming back at least for a couple years are probably not that good. But yeah, he was a good driver. He won a championship for us in the Xfinity Series a couple years ago. We got a ring for it. I got 9 rings now. So, all right. So Terry Quinn sent one. What would you do to keep costs down, especially for the little teams? You mean? I guess you mean for the lower budget cup teams. Well, those guys used to. Well, I know one thing. They got a really high tire bill, so you would almost think that
Darla made it on here.
that. I mean, this might sound silly, but you'd almost think that the tires would be a little bit cheaper, especially since Goodyear's getting all the exposure. I mean, I know they have to pay people to come out there and bring them to the track and all that stuff, but they seem like they could work out some kind of sponsor deal, and that would help the lower budget teams. Just make everything else affordable. If you had more fans coming in, you had plenty of money, plenty of revenue, then NASCAR cut back on some of their costs for entry fees, and because there's a lot of stuff that people don't realize that adds up every weekend, and as far as the cost, and you got travel for the teams and all that kind of stuff. But maybe the hotels could offer better rates
or a package deal.
They do a little bit anyway, but yeah, but some of them jack the rates up as soon as they know it's race weekend.
So Colleen Walker says, and Robert would like to see Chase Elliott in his 9 car over to Ford.
Yeah, I would too. That's actually would be a really good one. That would be good for the sport, because you look at Bill Elliott's past. Bill Elliott was the most popular driver in NASCAR for so many years. I could see Chase picking up where, kind of picking that deal up, especially if he was driving a Ford in the 9, just like his dad did. He could pick up all those fans that were fans of his dad, kind of like Junior did with his dad. And yeah, so Terry Quinn says, yes, Bobby Dale Earnhardt missed races because of no money for tires. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's, are you going down?
It went away.
Scroll down. All right, the dogs are around something.
Okay, Tom says Carl Edwards would be good one. He likes Matt, but he can't get over him wrecking the 22.
Well, yeah.
And also think instead of NASCAR trying to save money, they need to think about how to make money and get fans back.
Absolutely. That was the other thing I was kind of leading into, was how there's a lot of things that NASCAR could do, and a lot of it has to do with social media. And
say hey to Scarlett.
Yeah. And
hey, Scarlett.
Yeah, there's all kinds of other things they could do to get more people in there and make more money, for sure, and getting the fans back. But I like Carl Edwards too. Carl was always great. He was one of the drivers that would always get us. We always got a Christmas present from Carl Edwards. I mean, I know it doesn't sound like much, but it's, that means something to us whenever, if hardly, few of the drivers would do that, but Carl Edwards was just an all around great guy. But yeah, I agree with whenever Matt wrecked Joey, that was, I lost a lot of respect for him then, and I really haven't even seen him face to face since then. But is what it is. What are you gonna do? And yeah.
Well, what do you think, David, about if NASCAR tracks let folks bring in their own beer and just charge higher admission?
Well, they do let you bring beer in. They let you bring a cooler in, but you have to walk for 2 or 3 miles to get inside the track, half the time. So I was just thinking it would be easier if they said, well, don't worry about bringing your own beer in. We're going to sell them, even if it's $2. Yeah, $2 a can, that I thought that would make it easier instead of having to carry a full cooler and then when you're leaving and you get stuck in traffic for hours at times. Right now, okay. And as far as the admission prices, it's been a while since I had to pay for a ticket. Some people say they're not expensive, and then other people say it is expensive. So I don't really know. But yeah, I think if they make it cheap, like some of the dirt tracks you go to is like
10, 20.
Well, $10 to get in. I mean, that's pretty good. And they pack the stands and they're going to see an exciting race.
Tom, how much do you pay for your tickets when you go to Bristol? On average.
10 might be a little cheap, but
10's not definitely NASCAR.
Yeah,
price range
for sure. I mean, we paid $10 to go to Bowman Gray, the Madhouse, a couple of weeks ago.
That was kind of cool.
All right, y'all, go on now.
We got puppies coming in to the mix.
Yes, that was they packed the house. Of course, it's not as big as the NASCAR track. It's only a quarter mile, but all right now, y'all going.
And true, yeah, it's ridiculous to pay that much for a Coke because I don't drink beer. Yeah. So, but anyways, okay. So Colleen says we talked to Rocket Man at the Moonshine Shop in Dawsonville, Georgia. He suggested a cool idea to get some old stock cars and have teams fix them up to race a special race. Go on. Yeah. And then she says they paid $60 to $90 per ticket.
Oh. Yep.
Which, $60 to $90, yeah, it's expensive, and it kind of goes along with the concert ticket prices too.
Well, I was going to say too, if you paid $60 or $90, you want to be entertained. You want to have, I mean, really, you can have more than just a race. You can have, and in some places do still, they have concerts and things, before the race. But I don't know. I think too, make them on Saturday night.
Meet and greet.
Yeah, drivers meet and greets. That's a good idea. Like Pocono. Pocono's got the place where you can go in there and the drivers are behind a fence, but you can at least, meet and greet with them and get autographs and stuff. They got a little place, like a little teller that the driver can sign autographs through. And
they went to a free race party at Pocono. Colleen did.
Oh yeah, Pocono's a good track for very fan friendly. You get to walk down pit road. That's the other thing. They need to open up pit road, let the fans walk through. Charlotte, everywhere. Let the fans walk through before the race. Keep security in there, keep it stringed off where people can't go into the infield. But and then have the races on Saturday nights, Saturday evenings, Saturday nights. If there's a noise ordinance, whatever, do it on Saturdays. Have the bush race on Fridays, truck race on Thursdays. That way, when people come and they go camping out Sunday, they can go home. They can stay in their camper Saturday night and then leave on Sunday. Then you avoid the bad traffic getting out of there. I think that would be a good idea.
Tom says he sits in Waltrip section. It's $65 for bush race, is $75 to $80 for a cup race, and that's for middle seat.
Yeah,
he says they're not comfortable.
Seats are very, very uncomfortable too.
The track we went to the other night that David's talking about, the seats were concrete, so you definitely want to take a stadium seat with you.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, David's talking about lugging more stuff around.
Yep. So Terry said, any idea on how to get sponsors back to NASCAR? That's a good question because it seems like as the prices went up, I remember whenever Budweiser come in to sponsor Dale Earnhardt Jr., and it was like a $10 million sponsor, and that was like, wow, that's a lot of money back then. Whatever, 90s into 99 or somewhere around the area, and 98 something, and then the prices just started skyrocketing, and then a lot of the teams started, or the sponsors started backing out, saying it was too expensive and they weren't getting returns on their stuff because people quit coming to the tracks and quit buying the tickets, and so the TV money's a little bit high from what I understand. But as far as getting the sponsors back, that's where I think a lot of the marketing stuff could come into. You can give the sponsors, give them stuff, offer them things that would help their business to generate business for them. Like like I said, when the drivers win a race, they have a list of all. So make sure that's in there. Very important.
Yeah, Tom, you spend a lot of money hauling your camper around.
What do you say, David?
Is that including your parking in the campground for the weekend, or is that just your total gas? Oh, never mind. Colleen's Tricky Triangle was an extra $90 per ticket. So whatever the Tricky Triangle
to go Pocono down to pits.
Triangle, Tricky Triangle was an extra $90 per ticket. So you paid 80 plus 90. That's way too much. $170 for a ticket.
Yeah, and then Tom says
Home and Moody T-shirt. My dad calls it homeless and muddy. Isn't that what he called it?
Yeah.
My dad, of course, my dad worked Home and Moody back in the day, and he saw David's picture on Facebook. He says, "Why are you wearing a homeless and muddy shirt?"
Yeah. Well, her dad used to work there too.
And my grandfather.
Back in the
it's all figured into campground.
62, 63 up to 71, whenever they closed for the most part.
We get free tickets for the Tricky Triangle the last time, but that's how much tickets were worth. And Tom says parking's figured in. $1,500 for how long, Tom? Is it like Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Or is it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? And that's not including food.
So I wonder how, I've never actually been camping there, but how much has the camping changed over the years? Because I remember when I was going to the track, there would be campers for miles and it would be super packed. So I don't know. And then places like Michigan, after the race, you'd sit in the parking lot for 2 hours, and they started holding all the campers and everybody till the crew members got out. And that's where I was saying that it would make sense to me to race on Saturdays, and then tell all the campers they can stay Saturday night for free. Give them an incentive to stay. That way, the fans can get out of there, go home. They don't have to sit behind campers and get stuck. And then the campers can have Sunday to go all the way where they came from.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, because that way they can camp out a little bit longer. Give them time to pack up. And
mosquito got me right in my foot.
He's delicate.
Yeah, I hate mosquitoes. They love me though. I'm like a buffet. They see Hamm, and it's like buffet time. All right, hit me with some more.
Tom, you could stay at Farmer Bob's campground all week for set price. To answer David, the camping isn't nowhere near close to what it used to be. And Colleen says she's agreed that Saturday would be better. She would have to grade her papers on Saturday instead of Sunday while the race is on. Yeah, I kind of got it even close. Yeah. Well, you think about it, Sunday, who wants to pack up and have to hurry up and get home so they can do what they got to do to be up and go to work Monday? That's kind of like your weekend's completely gone.
You mean Mondays? Well, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Sunday night after
Yeah.
a race.
Your weekend's completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's rushed.
Yeah.
Lord knows I don't like to be rushed.
Me neither. Does anybody see the car in the background here? That's my little project I've been working on. It's replace the engine, transmission, the rear end gear. It's got a 9-inch Ford rear end underneath it, and all new weldwood brakes.
Ford and a Chevrolet.
Yep, because that Ford's a better deal. Ford.
Colleen
Just getting to put a
says,
Ford engine in.
oh, Paul Rodriguez is watching. Okay, so hey, Paul. He says our camping spot at Pocono went up to $1,500 from $500 last year. What? It tripled?
Went.
They added electric and water pit passes Friday, Saturday, grandstand admission, plus area passes. This package is for 4 people. So 4 people are staying for $1,500 Friday and Saturday. That's, yeah.
Yeah, and it includes the tickets for Friday. Oh, Friday, Saturday, grandstand admission. Dang, $1,500.
That's still a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the TV covers it well enough. So you have to be a true dedicated fan and enjoy the camping aspect of it if you're willing to pay that much. So they would get more people, to come in there and buy more beer and, buy different things if they did lower the prices some.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, supply, demand, you got to think about that factor too. Colleen says they're 2 hours from Indy and about 2 hours from Michigan. They haven't been to either one of those races.
So
she agrees prices need to be lower.
So Terry Quinn says thoughts on the Cup guys running Xfinity and truck races. See, I've never had a problem with that, just because I think that it makes the rookies or the younger guys or whatever in the lower series, it kind of, maybe they're learning something by running behind these guys that have got more experience than them. So it makes them run that much harder. I like that some of the tracks you don't have the Cup guys at. Like I guess be like, I don't know if they still run South Boston, but Nazareth and Indy Raceway Park you always did, but Road America, some of these places that you don't have the Cup guys there. So I think it kind of evens it out. That at least if the Cup guys are there running, it gives them something to shoot for, and when they're not there, they're on their own kind of. But I don't think they stink it up as bad as it used to be. It seems like it was always the Cup guys were winning, which I don't know. Kyle Busch seems to always win those truck races, and then you got either Keselowski or Logano or Kyle winning the Xfinity races. So I guess that's why it don't bother me too, because my Ford guys are winning in those races too, and that's with our engines.
So Tom says he doesn't understand why Doug Rush's Engines doesn't have a trailer at the tracks as popular as their stuff is.
Yeah, I think that would be really good. I don't know if they figure the expense of running a truck is going to outweigh the expense of having the stuff there. I mean, Ford Performance has theirs, but look how much money Ford has. I mean, versus we try to, or Doug Gates tries to keep the company strong, and spends money in the right places. And I think that he would rather, instead of letting employees go, he'd rather probably just not have that extra expense. I mean, I don't know. I'm just sort of thinking right off my first thoughts on that, but I think they could probably do a little better on selling stuff online too. Maybe have more different items available.
Paul says he does like the improvement. He says what they did is they have generators, or they don't have to have generators now. So they're right on the track on the short straight.
Mm-hmm.
So they improved that by not having to listen to the generators all the time by providing electricity.
And that's what the $1,500 for
tripled.
4 people, huh?
It tripled.
Oh, from
it went
500
from 500
to
1,500.
Yeah, I got you. Well, So on yeah, Terry gave me thumbs up on Ford's winning a Xfinity. Yep. So anyway, I can go ahead and ask my
Trivia.
I'll go ahead and ask my trivia question here. So the first person that gets the answer wins, and then I'll start kind of keeping up with it every time. I think this was the idea that Terry Quinn had sent me earlier. Thinking about it. So
Ford says it's one Ford, one team. So I'm baffled as to why Roush has sucked for the past several years. What's your opinion on that?
oh well, I think that I don't know. I kind of have to. Maybe it's sort of like a pride thing, with when you got. I mean, you got Jack Roush, you got he's owning Roush, of course, and you got Roger Penske. They've been competitors for all these years. I mean, look how many years they've both been in the sport and competing against each other. They've both had their ups and downs, um, and now Stuart Haas is in the mix. It would be good if the teams could all work together, and that's the idea with Ford Performance is that we're all one team. But you still kind of have to think that the teams aren't going to do that anyway, because it's kind of like, I probably wouldn't give away all my secrets if I was racing against my brother, let's just say. I mean, because I'm competitive, and um, I think that that's probably the case. Roush probably needs to just um, get it figured out, just like everybody else has had to do in the past. I mean, there's even in the engine side, we've had years where other teams kind of got ahead of us, and then we had to play catch up. So Rouse is sort of in that spot now. I mean, for years they were winning, and the thing about winning is when you're doing it, you can tend to get comfortable. Then you're like, well, we're kicking everybody's butt. We don't need to do anything to improve. As long as we just stay, at this level, we're good. And Rouse was doing it for years, and I know that in our engine department, we never let up, because I remember back a few years ago, we let up, or I say we let up. We got comfortable, and then the other team started going by us. And so from then on, it's like you can't, the way things are right now, that it's close, the competition is. I mean, you're down to being within, you know, not much from one car to the next, winning the race after 500 miles. Um, you have to have that extra edge.
So Paul asked, does Penske lean on the engine builders for more speed when they are slower than Stewart Haas?
Yeah. I mean, they do. Um, and they'll do things a little bit different. That's probably about all I can say on that. But not as far as horsepower wise. I'm just saying we don't give any particular teams more horsepower than the other. But
so basically, if each team says, "Hey, can you do this or can you do this?" you'll try to accommodate them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because they have, some of the teams will have their different packages for what they have in their cars, whether they have their different types of let's say cooling systems or fans and air ducts and things like that. That might affect our engines a little. So we do have some different variances as far as that goes, but it's nothing that affects horsepower. It's just all about it's adapting to the different cars of the different teams. That's probably all I can say about that.
Yeah. So Tom says, I get that, but it's kind of shameful to see the 6 and 17 run in back all the time. I'm just saying Ford should pick up the pace for them, say, try this instead.
Yeah, that would be nice. I don't know why. I really honestly don't know why that is. Um, I'm sure the guys at Roush have probably been asked that a lot, especially the guys on the crews that are going to the track and they're dealing with the frustration week in and week out. I know I've been in that position and been at the track, and you don't run good, and your teammates might be winning and they're running good, and then it's just like, what the heck? We get to that, but I don't know. It's just a communication thing a lot of times. Yeah, that's about all I got for that. So anyway, all right. So I'm going to ask this question right quick. So the first person to answer it is the winner of whatever.
Winner chicken dinner.
So, all right. So today is the anniversary of what former race car driver's death? And I'll tell you, the driver was born in 1955, and he died 1980. Dang, see, I should have had that ready, I guess, but 86, 87.
Who's Googling it? D. McDuffie? Yeah, sorry.
Wait. I mean, let's see
Well,
here.
she's right.
The driver died in 1989.
Paul Rodriguez is Dave. Oh, Colleen says that's Robert, by the way. Robert's talking instead of Colleen.
Oh, I got you. That was Robert. Okay. Yeah. All right. So,
Sorry, it's coming up as Colleen.
all right. So, all right. So Terry got it right. Tim Richmond.
Tim Richmond was the answer.
Yeah. He was born 1955. And basically,
Tom Robinson, Tim Richmond, you waited a little too late, bud.
Yeah. So I think that, there you go. Colleen says I can type faster.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting here reading for David, because he can't read and talk at the same time.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, Tim Richmond, which pretty much the inspiration for the movie Days of Thunder. Whenever he was, well, if you watch that movie, it kind of reminds you of. I always think about Jeff Gordon when I'm watching that movie, but if you think about it, Jeff Gordon wasn't around yet. I mean, this was 1989, I think, when that movie came out. 1990. Actually, 1990, I believe it was, and that was right after Tim Richmond passed away. So that movie is definitely about him. But this is also the day Clifford Allison died. Clifford Allison died on the same day that Tim Richmond did.
We didn't know that.
I didn't know that, but I remember. I remember that day. Well, I'd say, yeah. I'm pretty sure I have a Clifford Allison little Matchbox car bought from the Mac Tool Man. So,
Hey, my internet is slow. It's not your internet, it's your fingers.
oh yeah. Welcome to the 20th century, Tom.
They have this little cool convention called Speak to Text.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Colleen, well,
Rachel's not on here. She says she don't see any
we
email.
met David in Mooresville. Rachel introduced us at the barbecue place. Oh, okay. I remember him meeting some people at Lancaster's. Was it Lancaster's? Or was it Big Tiny's?
Big Tiny's. Who do we meet? Who do you meet?
I didn't meet them. I didn't meet anybody.
No, I went to. I met them at Big Tiny's in Mooresville, and then Paul Rodriguez and his wife.
Me too.
Yes, he was. We met him, or I met him.
Did I meet Paul?
At Lancaster's. So Rachel was supposed to be
Big
on here.
Tiny. Robert says
but
Big
she
Tiny.
didn't make it. Apparently, I'm not sure what's going on, but
she'll be all right. She'll make it next time.
Yeah. All right.
She didn't get to go. We will have to do that next. Yes, I love meeting David's friends.
Yeah, she does.
And their wives, of course, because,
Yeah.
And all about the men.
All right. So Sorry, I'm so jittery, but the daggum mosquitoes have been eating up my ankles.
It's not the mosquitoes.
Well, it's hard for me to sit still
You
anyway.
can't sit still.
But yeah. Besides that, I've got.
And he's got a rolly chair, so that makes it worse.
Yeah. I feel like I need to. Oh. Yeah.
Uh-oh, Tom, you disappeared.
I'm a buffet.
Where'd you go? Where's the text, Dave? Oh, okay.
Right there.
Tom Robinson. Here's a good question for David. Do you think it's too early for Jeff Gordon to be in the Hall of Fame? He says yes. Hey, Rachel. He says yes, it's too early for him to be in comparison to others who aren't and should be. Jeff Gordon.
Well, I think that there's other guys that could go in there before him. I mean, I think Jeff's still, I think Jeff's still fairly young. I mean, he's what 46 years old, and yeah, he definitely had a lot of accomplishments. But as far as being in the Hall of Fame right now, I think put some of these other guys in there that were around, a long time before Jeff Gordon. Put them guys in there first. That's what I say about that.
So Robert Walker says, have you ever met Ernie Elliott? Dan Elliott was inducted into the Georgia Racing Hall of Fame this year.
I have not. I have been around those guys, but I've never actually met him or Dan. But yeah, they're. I know they're very smart. I know some guys that have worked with Ernie Elliott before. But no, I have not. I got to meet Smokey Unit. That was really cool. He used to come around to the racetracks. And my engine builder, the Cringe, was good friends with him.
Kit's watching too. Yeah, Paul, we'll definitely have to do dinner as well. Mooresville or up here in Statesville. Statesville's a cool town. So I'm going to kind of change the subject for a brief moment. Now, I'm sure everybody knows the movie Smokey and the Bandit. Well, you remember the Trans Am in Smokey and the Bandit. Well, my dad is the one that did the car for that. I've told a few of you, but I've not told everyone. But racing, like David said, my grandfather was in it, my dad was in it, David was in it, my brother's even been in it. So it's pretty fitting I'm next, huh?
You're next to what?
To be in racing.
Be in racing. Well, kind of are.
Yeah, I kind of am.
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of, not really. Mm-hmm. Okay, Colleen says we had a cool encounter with Mrs. Wood this year. I think we told you about it at dinner.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. That is cool. They're really nice people. Extremely nice people. I wish they were running better. Yeah.
So, the movie the movie Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds actually gave my dad, as a thank you gift, he gave him a Rolex. And I met Hal Needham as well. Hal Needham was the producer as well. So I've gotten to meet them. We went to the movie premiere of Sugar Ace. So I got to meet Lonnie Anderson as well years ago.
Oh, and Sugar Ace.
Okay, yeah. So Rachel says, Ellie's, that's right, Tracy. Move aside, Danica. Go green, Tracy.
What's the lady? Allie Sheedy? Is that her name? She was in Sugar Ace.
I don't know. So Paul Rodriguez says, years ago at Pocono, Dan Elliott was around so much in pits during practice and qualifying. He was very easy to talk to. Have I met Harry Gant? Yes, I have met Harry Gant. Harry Gant actually changed clothes in front of me when I was a kid. Dad was on his team. No, listen.
Not like that.
He did. He took out of his. Listen, he took his fire suit off. I was in the trailer. I know. I was in the trailer, and my dad had taken me to a race, and he came in, and of course I'm looking out of the back of the trailer, but yeah, he came in after the race to change clothes, and naturally they wear clothes under their fire suits, but yeah, that was pretty cool. That does sound racy. It wasn't racy like that, but it was definitely an experience to be able to have close encounters with the drivers as well, because the king actually walked around. I got his signature, so that was cool.
And we saw him in Taylorsville a couple years ago. He was at Marty Stewart concert.
Handsome Harry. And you know what? I named my dog Handsome Harry, as a matter of fact. Handsome Harry is actually having surgery today. He got a hold of something that he shouldn't have.
So some fans once brought up the Hall of Fame should recognize crew guys, and I agree 100%. Terry said, well, that's where Rachel comes in. I think that doing the Hall of Fame stuff for maybe getting crew members involved in some of that. I mean, that's kind of what she did with me. But anyway, get me involved with the Hall. So what do Rachel says, what do you miss most about the way NASCAR used to be, and that it is no longer now? I think that I used to, well, see, I haven't been, the last time I went to work at a track was in 2004, and it wasn't nearly as packed as it was back in 95. But when I was going, I liked the drivers that were still driving back then, like this Ricky Rudd and, Darrell Waltrip, which I ended up, as I grew older, I wasn't a Darrell Waltrip fan, but I was like, after David Pearson, Gary Yarborough, and then it was Darrell Waltrip. But anyway, so I liked seeing all those guys, and David Pearson would come around. You still had Hut Strickland still driving. Ernie Irvin was still driving, and those were the guys that I grew up watching race. And then Kelly Yarborough would still be at the racetrack. So whenever I was going, I would get to see all those guys that I felt like I'd known my whole life. They might not have known me at the time when I first started in there, but most of them I got to know. And so that was probably the coolest thing for me. And then seeing how packed the stands were and how passionate the fans were, and how, we actually got signed autographs a lot of times, stuff that I just always try to be as nice as people were to me, they were always real nice. But what's up, Nick? Robert has already ordered his NASCAR Heat 3 Xbox game. It will have more dirt racing on it, and the Roval. Colleen says, I used to play a lot of those NASCAR games, and I had a blast with that stuff. And it's become even more realistic now. And the dirt track stuff was fun. I got to ride around in a sprint car at the dirt track, and you're going through the turns. You're going through the turns sideways. I mean, it's crazy. It's like you're on a roller coaster. One of them things that just spins around, around, around. That's what it's like being in a sprint car. Let's read what Tom said. Yeah, David Pearson was who I liked too there. Colleen.
Tom says the year the 48 won championship, they switched crews with like 8 races or so to go. That crew would have gotten the championship rings. They switched the 24 crew to the 48 to do performance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so when the 24 crew went over, hold on. Oh, yeah, that to do performance. Yeah. Now look what they're doing.
Now Scarlett's got to get in the picture.
Maybe that's recall karma. Tom?
You have zero hand-eye coordination. You suck at video games. Well, I hate to say it. Same here.
Yeah.
Rachel seems to think I did pretty good in the NASCAR Hall of Fame racing, but I didn't do that great. I wrecked a lot.
All right, so what do I like the most? Rachel says, what do I like the most about interacting with the fans? I was a fan until I was 23 years old when I first got into NASCAR. So I was a big fan, and I'd say for the 5 years before I got into NASCAR, I had all the magazines, Stock Car Magazine, Circle Track, um, Winston Cup Illustrated, all that stuff. I was eat up with it, and I still have all that stuff in boxes out in my shed. But whenever I started getting around, it was kind of like, you know, I remember being around stuff and thinking how nice they were, and I wanted to be the exact same way because that left an impression on me, and that made me want to be in it even more. You know, you think about it as a young man, you get around crew members, and they act like what I always heard the Indy car crews acted like were kind of stuffy and wouldn't talk to you and that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know, but if they acted like that, then I wouldn't want to have anything to do with it. So I think it's good for the sport to be nice to the fans, just like the guys were nice to me.
So Rachel says Tracy and David had fast times on the virtual racing. It takes a little getting used to.
Oh yeah.
And then
Yeah, that was
Robert Walker
fun
says Rachel
at
and
the NASCAR
Robert
Hall.
beat out a kid in the simulators at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. The kid had been driving all afternoon. They raced the last 2 races and both beat them.
Who beat who?
Rachel and Robert
Oh, they beat the
beat out
kids
a
that have
kid
been
that had been
racing.
doing it all day.
How about that? Yeah, that's a lot of fun doing that. I like to have
Rachel
that.
beat me too.
I used to have a steering wheel and all that stuff in my house. Well, I still have it, but
Of
I
course.
could sit there and on the TV screen. But the computers have gotten a lot faster now, which gives me an idea. I could use my new laptop, put a video game on it. So Terry Quinn says, "Does RYE do open house so fans can meet builders, inspectors like you and Mark?" Well, we're supposed to have a tour come through Wednesday. Anyway, mostly what we do, I don't think we've rarely ever had an open house kind of thing. We'll have meetings, and we'll have stuff where some of the teams will come over and bring their, uh, the crews or whatever, those guys. But no, we've never had open house that I can think of. Not like that. Not that the fans could come in. Not like they do over at Roush and stuff during race week.
Fenway.
Yeah, Roush Fenway has their open house, and I don't know the other teams. I'm sure the other shops have it too. I'm sure, but that's not a bad idea. I mean, that's something we could probably do in the future for sure. Might have to bring that up because I'm sure people would like to come over and see us. Now, that's the difference now too. Is used to around October and May and October, business park where I work, there'd be cars lined up and down the road. Where some of the teams have moved out, but you don't see that like you used to. I mean, it would be, I don't know, which I mean, I guess I'm not really complaining, but I'm just wondering if that's because some of the fan base is gone too. Yeah, like I said, some of the teams have moved out. We used to have Bahari, we used to have Penske, we had Savco there where I'm at. We had Ricky Red's team, the Tide Car down there, and then we had well, for a while we had the Texaco team down there too. But anyway, and Roush was down there. So, all right. Anybody else got some more questions? We should just have us well, I don't know, everybody get together and have a big whatever. I don't know. Have a big party with our race group here. But you got Terry in Oklahoma, you got Rachel in Charlotte, and Tom in Indiana, and Paul Rodriguez. Where are y'all from, Paul? I forgot. I'm sorry.
Rachel says, what improvements have been made to engines in the past 20 years?
Let's see. The biggest improvements.
Florida.
Oh yeah, Florida. Paul's in Florida. Yeah, so it'd be hard to get everybody together. So, all right, hold on, Tom. I'll answer that in a minute. The biggest changes I've seen are the weight of everything. Because when I first started in NASCAR back at the end of '94, and everything was the pistons, rods, crankshaft, the block, everything was a lot heavier and then everything's just gotten lighter through the years. Different materials, different, uh, things, parts are made different, and everything just lightened up. But we do have rule limits which limit how light you can uh, make the engine parts, and also on the materials that you can use. Like not using certain exotic materials. You have to use steel and aluminum and things. So Tom said,
How's your dad?
"How's my dad doing?" My dad's doing good. He took a little spill down at the creek, but he was okay. He was just being stubborn because I was like, "Dad, grab a hold of my shoulder and I'll get you up this hill." He's like, "Go on, just stand back." And he tries to go up, and then he falls down on his side. But he fell in the water, which was a good thing. That caught his fall. But yeah, he was just fine. And karaoke challenge. Terry, karaoke challenge. Did you ever bring up the thought of doing the karaoke challenge? I know what you're talking about. I did not bring that up. I think you said some of the other teams were doing that. You know what the karaoke challenge is, right? Like a lot of the police, the police.
The fire departments are doing
police departments.
The different stuff.
Yeah, fire departments and all of them are doing this police thing or karaoke challenge thing. And Terry said something about thinking. Somebody mentioned that some of the crews could do that too. I don't know. I'm probably going to be in one either Thursday or Friday this week. Actually,
Really?
yeah. With the I guess the Troutman Police Department was going to come up. It's either Troutman or Statesville.
It was Troutman.
Was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So Robert remembers back in the 80s they used to change engines during the race.
Yeah, you could change the cylinder heads or the engines or all that stuff during the race back then.
Sweet babies.
Because I've heard some of the cool stories that Robert Yates has told, and Doug Yates tells them about changing heads.
So
and I was, I built qualifying engines back in the day, 97, 98 for Nemechek, and so they would change the engine, take out the qualifier after qualifying, and put the practice engine in, and then take the practice engine out and put race engine in. So that's one way NASCAR's cut back on the expense.
So Tom says, do you think they will ever go to overhead cam engines, and if so, would you be for it?
I think in 2022, I think that's when their current pushrod engine spec, or the engine we currently use, is they can redo the engine and run something different in 2022, and that's probably what it's going to be.
Did NASCAR start the EcoBoost?
Well, we have the EcoBoost in our other GT40s.
Okay,
Le Mans and Sebring and all these.
Rachel says, are there any engine developments in NASCAR that can now be found in cars used by the public? Well, the EcoBoost is one, right?
Yeah, the EcoBoost engine. Taking a V6 engine and jacking it up.
Well, mine's a 4-cylinder and it drives like a 6. It's a turbo.
Yeah. Well, when they race in those IMSA cars, that EcoBoost engine, like twin turbos.
Okay, so Robert says Smoke was in one of those lip sync challenges for the Columbus, Indiana department.
Okay, yeah, so we might be one with the radio station with the Chillbillies. We're supposed to be in one coming up either Thursday or Friday. But yeah, the Chip Ganassi's GT's Paul's right.
You have the Equinox,
and
I looked at those.
Yeah, I mean Chip Ganassi's been winning with our engines from our other shop. We have another shop that does those engines for those cars, and guys that go to the track and take care of it and all that stuff. And they just been racking up every race, winning that thing. Makes you wonder if Chip Ganassi would ever switch over to a Ford in the Cup Series, which would be pretty cool. So Terry says, whoever the '86 Chevy Cup car is, Alex is playing video games with his dad, and he is wearing the wall out, mowing the fields. Yeah. Well, hey, Alec, I like playing those games too. Maybe we could play against each other online sometime, but I'd have to figure out how to get online and do it. I think you have to have the. I used to have the computer program. It's like NASCAR '95 or something. It's
I
been a
was pretty
while.
good at Mario Go Kart,
It's been a while
Mario
since I had it.
Racing.
There it is.
So Rachel says
Mario
this
Kart.
is yeah, Mario Kart. Yeah. So
A
this
little
is for it is a little different, but it's still racing. This is for both David and Tracy. Which track is your favorite and why?
Which track is I always say, I mean, I'll just go ahead and say my favorite track as far as the scenery, I like Phoenix because you're there, you're in the desert, it's dry, and it's always in the fall, and the scenery is beautiful. Um, that's that one. But as far as how fast the cars go and how close you are to the track, I like going to Atlanta because whenever the cars go by, they just like it's unbelievable how fast they are. I like Charlotte because it always seemed like the home track, and it's the one I've gone to since I was a little kid. Um, I like Talladega because of the banking on it. We're riding around the track in the bus, and you look out the side window and you see the track when you're sitting high up on the bus. That's how the big banking is. And Bristol's pretty cool because it's like being in a big fishbowl, and it's constantly during the race, and it's a short track, and it's at night. That was one of my favorites too. So I guess I answered that. Did Tracy answer?
Tracy doesn't have a favorite.
Okay.
I like our Equinox. That's the car we drove around Watkins Glens. You gotta do that if you get a chance. It's great. Mario Kart's awesome. Yes, it is, Rachel. Mario Kart was awesome. I played it with my boys. That's the only thing I could beat them at because all the other games I wasn't good at.
Tom says Chip has EGR engines, but running HMS motors. That don't make sense to me. What do you think, David? HMS built better stuff
Than his own.
Well, I know whenever so I was working in an engine shop at Sabco, and then Chip Ganassi come in and said, you can still have a job, but you got to work on cars now. And if you want to keep building engines, you're going to have to build them somewhere else because he likes to run his engine. He likes to run, he was going to run his Cup car like he did his Indy stuff, which was he got engines from somewhere else. So I don't know if it's just a thing in where he feels like he has to get engines from somewhere else and he gets a better deal, or he gets things. I don't know. Other than that, I don't know. I think I was going to say it'd be pretty cool. I think that Doug Yates kind of saw the future in this whenever he said whenever we were gonna combine Roush with us, and we're gonna basically build all the Ford engines out of one shop. That was the future of the sport. So I guess it's going in that direction, or it was. So I don't know if they're still gonna, you know, like Hendricks. We projected that Hendricks would eventually do all the Chevrolet engines, and then we would do all the Fords, and then Gibbs would do all the Toyotas. So
back to the track question, Rachel. I didn't go to very many races when I was a kid, but the difference in those races versus these is when I was a kid, I would go with my dad, who of course was on the pit. So I actually got to sit right at the pit wall. We didn't have that restriction, so I had, free access to walk around in the pit. I could sit on the wall until the car came in, of course, but I don't get to have that closeness now because number one, they park their trucks farther away, and two, now when we've been into the suites, so it's a little different going into the suites as well.
I'm gonna show him. Harry said hers is Talladega.
Okay. Paul says we've been to Dover, Pocono, Daytona, and Homestead. Chevy teams just don't seem to agree on anything.
Yeah, it does seem that way, don't it? Because I don't know how they would figure out who was going to do engines, all the engines for which team, or who was going to do what. I'm going to show y'all something right quick.
You're showing Charlie.
Well, I was going to show them where's Charlie? Oh, no. I was going to show them these trees out here. All right, so check out mine. All right, see this tree? These are all my son parked the truck there so I can put air in the tires. Great myrtle trees. They line the driveway. Yeah, how cool is that? One of my favorite things. And there's an old camper. That camper belonged to Mike Hilton, and then it was Robert Yates's. He kept that on his farm. And there's my house. Property goes down to the creek, and my other shops. That way, about, I don't know, 500 feet or so. All right. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you all those trees. I think they're really pretty. This time of year, they're changing colors. And there's an engine I got to put on a mower. I'll show them puppies.
Showing Charlie?
No. Well, okay. I got a recliner in here.
This is funny, guys.
Yep. So guess who gets to sit in our recliner? Yep, Charlie. He's a little bit spoiled. Here's at the vet.
Getting surgery.
And ate something.
My baby's getting surgery.
Ate something he shouldn't have. All right.
Unfortunately, if he doesn't have the surgery, he doesn't have a chance to survive.
Yeah. Tom said you got to get some blue ovals in that driveway.
Blue ovals?
I know. Ford. Well, I got one. We got
got a Ford tractor.
Yeah. We got how many Ford tractors I got? I got 4 in here. 5. Yeah,
Is
4.
that engine for a lawnmower race?
Ford tractors in here.
No, actually, it's not.
It's not. It's for a customer's riding mower. It had a burnt valve in it, and it was going to be. It was just cheaper instead of having to go get hurt and then to the wiring. So instead of fixing all that, I just had him get a new one. So Terry says when I won a trip to Atlanta for the November '96 race, I had VIP skybox seats, but in spite of it being 40 degrees with a wind chill of 20 degrees, I was in the 28 pit. It's all cool. You know, Atlanta, we always called it cold Atlanta or hot Atlanta. Yeah, I mean, it could go either way. It's either going to be either freezing cold or steaming hot. But I think the hottest track I've ever been to, St. Louis.
Missouri?
Yeah, Gateway, whatever. That was hot. It was so hot, my sweat was sweating.
Like Key West.
Yeah, it was like Key West hot. Very humid. I guess that part of the country just has a lot of humidity. So
you would think Phoenix would have a lot of humidity.
Yeah, but we always went in October. So that was the end of the season. It wasn't too bad.
Did they have a race in Vegas?
Yes, they had a race in Vegas, and that was back. It was later.
Vegas is hot.
I think it was later in the year. Well, they changed it. It was like the 3rd race of the season, something like that. Yeah, I don't remember back then though.
They're all GM motors.
Yeah, I know. I got Chevrolets and Jeeps, and well, I mean, what can I say? That's just what came along.
What Dodge do we have?
Well, that's a
The PT
PT
Cruiser?
Cruiser, yeah. It just happens to be what I ended
Chevy
up with there,
truck,
Thomas.
the Jeep, the truck.
I want to get my Jeep going. I
I have a
really need
Lincoln.
to get that
Yep.
thing
Mom's
rolling.
got the Cadillac now. I traded the Cadillac for the Lincoln.
Yeah. So Paul says, I remember when Steve Mill left Martin. He went to a company owned by Earnhardt, Hendricks, and RCR to do R&D, but that all fell apart. Yeah, that was gosh. I know one of my friends worked out there with them, Tommy Davis, and he actually now he has his own pottery shop up in Lexington, North Carolina, which is up near where that shop was. The shop was up off of 64, not too far from here, but anyway, headed towards Lexington. Yep, they were the R&D. They used to do all the plate engines for Hendricks also. Sure did. And so Terry says, I went unprepared, had to go, but long johns, gloves, only coat I had was my 28 uniform jacket. Terry's got a lot of history with the 28 team, and that's pretty cool. He's got a lot of pictures of if y'all don't know Terry, well, send her a friend request, Terry Quinn, on the Facebook.
Rachel says, do you have any favorite memories of the Rockingham, and North Wilkesboro? She wishes those tracks got their race dates back.
Yeah, so I went to I was there at North Wilkesboro for the last race, and it was my first year as a jackman in 1996. And so I go. That was my first short track experience with not understanding that the car sort of sits lower on the left side, especially during a race. It kind of sinks down once everything's heated up and settled in. So I didn't cut the jack stop on the left side. So you can find it on YouTube. There's a clip whenever during the race that year, and then I'll grab my headset and I'm like, it won't go up because I couldn't get the jack under the car. So I was like almost in the panic mode. So the only thing I think of is it won't go up. And you can hear me on the TV say that. But anyway, yeah. So from then on, we had to get this long bar that we had and stick underneath the left side and lift it so that I could get the jack under there. And that's just because I always had to cut the jack stop off. Well, from then on, all the years after that, I cut the jack stop off and I put a piece of tape there so that I would know where the stop was. And then as far as Rockingham, yeah, Rockingham was cool. We used to go there twice a year. We would have our pit crew competition. So really, we go there 3 times a year. We'd have a pit crew competition on Thursdays for qualifying. Well, anyway, we would go down for the pit crew competition. So one time I got to actually drive the car down there in the trailer and unloaded the car and drove it over to where we were going to work on it and get it ready for pit crew competition. And then I drove it back, put it in the trailer, and hauled it back to the shop. And then,
so Tom says something about next Monday after Bristol, he needs to do the crying towel. What do you think? Well, first of all, I don't understand what the crying towel is.
Well, hold on. All right. And then the other one more memory at Rockingham was we got rained out one time. I took my daughter and I took my dad, and they got to hang out with Darrell Waltrip, which was my dad's favorite forever and my daughter's favorite. So they, that was pretty cool. That was a good memory, even though it rained. That gave us more time to go over and hang out with Darrell Waltrip. So the crying towel, that would be for. Hold on, we need to do David's crying towel. Jimmy Spencer had a thing where he would do the crying towel thing, and Tom mentioned me doing something like that. So yeah, we'll get together on that, Tom, because when we start doing this like every Monday after the race, I guess, then we'll have some more props. We'll have more, we'll have some more stuff. I'll be organized as far as having different questions and things like that to ask. So I think it'll be pretty cool. So any ideas any of y'all have, you can send me an email, send me a message, comment on here, because I'll still get the comments even after we're off of here. And if you haven't already, sign up. Obviously, you signed up for YouTube because you have because you have the ability to do chat. And if anybody's watching and you're not able to chat, you have to sign in to YouTube. And when you're signed in, go and click subscribe on underneath my profile. There's a little thing that says subscribe, and then there's a little bell. That's a notification. That means it'll tell you every time I post something, or if there's a video. Like I'll go ahead a day ahead of time and I'll set it up that this is going to be on a live a day ahead of time, and it'll tell you. It'll give you a notification. So hit subscribe and do the bell notification. So anyway, yeah, Jimmy Spencer was a funny guy. He was different. We called him what do we call him? Butterball or something like. I don't remember. That's been a while ago. But yeah, he was something. I remember seeing him racing at Bristol one time in the Busch Series, and I was like, "Holy crap, this guy can drive a car!" But getting the Cup car, and he was so. I think he actually won that race that I was. That I actually went and sat in the stands at Bristol. Yep. Yep. One of these days, Terry, I'm gonna get my Jeep going. If I can get caught up on this other stuff. Yeah, Mr. Excitement. That's who Jimmy Spencer was. I remember that. Mr. Excitement. So Rachel asked me, what driver do you miss the most that passed away? Oh my goodness. Yeah, with Dale Earnhardt Sr. But personally, the ones that I miss the most are, well, my buddy Blaze Alexander. Um, he was a close friend, and so I'd have to say him. And then the next one would be Adam Petty, because same deal. I knew him from when he was like 12 years old. Whenever I was the jackman for his dad, and then he would come out there and talk and ask questions, and he was always at the track, and just a great kid. Always had a big smile. And I remember last time I saw him, he was coming out of the bathroom at Talladega, and he's still kind of zipping up, and he just had that big smile. Said, "Hey, we were going in our different directions." And that's the last time I saw him. So, but yeah, Tom says I miss Davey Allison. I know
Robert says he misses.
I know Terry will agree with that. Alan Kowicki, yeah, Alan Kowicki. He was won the championship. He was a mechanical engineer. And his song when he won the championship was "I Did It My Way." That was the theme song for his team, because he did it his way. He kind of did it on his own too. We ran into a guy that has one of his old cars over here. Remember the body shop we went to? I don't even remember what I went over there for. Oh,
John
to
get
some track. Yeah, John Deere paint for. No, it wasn't. It was the Ford 8N paint. Anyway, this guy was painting a tractor for me, and we went over to a shop, and he had an old Alan Kowicki car, and he was trying to sell it. Sure was. Hey,
are the Chillbillies NASCAR fans?
Well, that's a good question. Kudzu is not. He don't watch racing at all, so he's kind of oblivious to it. And then Hash used to work in racing, but I don't think he really pays much attention. When he does, he pulls for Toyotas. If that tells you anything, just leave it at that. So Colleen said Robert said he liked it when he had Underbird instead of Thunderbird on the car. Yeah, that was
Speaking
funny.
of Underbird, the race we went to, the car that won actually had Underbird
Rachel.
On it.
They're Toyotas. You got that right. So, yeah, the Underbirds. So nobody's asked me about the Fusion versus the Mustang. I got distracted. Yeah, nobody's asked me about the Mustangs versus the Fusion. Yes, these picks have been sitting here in front of me forever, and I couldn't resist anymore. I got the banjo. I keep it out here, hanging on the wall, just in case for emergencies. When I start getting the shakes, grab my banjo. How about a burnout with my banjo? What you think?
Yeah, how about a burnout?
Picking and grinning and hee haw. Oh yeah, and Terry says yes. I miss Dave Allison and Kenny Irwin. Yeah, so I was the builder for Kenny Irwin. I was his qualifying engine builder whenever he passed away. What is your take on the Mustang? Okay, so I like the Mustang. I like the way it looks. I like the nostalgia. I like the history, which I guess would be like nostalgia. Um, I just think it's going to be a great image, and it's going to be. I don't know. I like it better than any of the other cars they've had that the Fords raced. Tom, he says if I get better on the guitar, I'll play with you one day. That sounds good. Bring
You
it.
are pretty good, actually.
Yep. Tom got to play over at Strickland's. No pressure.
Did he play at Huck?
Yes, he did. He
I know
played
he
their
played at
guitar.
Scott's.
He played the Allison cousins were up there on the stage, and I didn't have my banjo that day. I should have.
Uh-oh.
I should have had it. Oh,
I missed that.
yeah, he played. I got a video of it actually. I could
Well,
put
you
that
go,
on.
Tom.
I could put that on the YouTube.
Yeah,
if anybody
put it
wants.
on the YouTube.
Yeah, sure.
Or the Twitter.
Mhm. All right, so yeah, I hope it does well too. Yeah, I think it's gonna do just fine. Sure do.
Well,
All right.
I'm ready.
Yep. Ready for what?
I'm ready to go. I got a
Mustang?
migraine.
Good. All right, I guess we'll wrap it up now. But thanks everybody for watching. And if you got questions, comments, like I said, or ideas, we'll just keep this rolling. And so next time maybe I'll bring out have some more. I'll come up with some stuff for next time. Some more interesting stuff and whatever. So tomorrow's Colleen's first student day. I have to get ready for bed, so I won't be ready tomorrow. Yeah, I guess it is time to go back to school now. Rachel says, thank you, David and Tracy, and thanks so much. This was fun, Colleen. Well, thank y'all for watching. I had a good time, and hopefully it was exciting for you. And next time we'll just keep on making it exciting. We both are a little bit tired today
Well,
from all the
different reasons.
the stresses of dealing with the dog and that kind of stuff. But anyhow.
And fasting. I had to fast all day.
Yeah.
That's why I've got the band on.
Yeah. So y'all have a good evening. All right. Good night, y'all. I think that's it, right?
When are we coming back again?
When are
we coming back again?
Oh,
next Monday.
I guess next Monday. Oh,
tune back in next Monday.
And here's something else. I've been thinking about doing videos on some other things too, and this is something. And good night, Terry. You too. I don't know. I'm just bouncing this around because there's other things that I'm interested in. Like one of the things that I do is a lot of family history stuff. The other thing I do is I do some metal detecting, and I do
artifact
hunting. But it's hard to do lives with that stuff because I don't have a signal down at the creek. But metal detecting, or if anybody needs help with their family history, genealogy stuff, maybe I can help with that. Or just maybe I could just do a video of how I do it. I could do a video of how to change oil in a car, or how to replace a engine on a lawnmower.
He's gonna put me to work to do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Tracy do some of the work.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be better to look at, I guess, than well, I guess. But anyway, all right, y'all. Good night, everybody. Oh, right. Said Robert. Colleen says Robert is into family history. have a funny story about metal detecting. I'll have to tell you sometime. That sounds good. All right. Well, I'll work on that too, and we'll see y'all next time. I guess next Monday, unless I get froggy and say we need to talk about something else. But here's another thing. I'll be on the radio Thursday night, probably 7:15 or so on 92.9. It's WAMEradio.com around 7:15, or on Facebook Live. It'll be on the Sports Recap Show Facebook Live. If anybody wants to listen in
for NASCAR.
Yeah, we'll talk about some NASCAR there at the radio station.
Hamm and Pam.
Yeah, Pam and Hamm. So we'll see y'all later on. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.